Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to make a different video than normal because oftentimes when we're scrolling through social media, it can be very, very hard to filter out good advice from bad advice. And of all of the content that I personally produce, whether it's watch related or firearms related or content like this, which is self-improvement oriented and self-developmental in nature, this is the kind of content for me that I truly care about the most and that I hope has the greatest reach and the greatest impact. So I'll say it up front, I hope if you guys get anything out of this content, I hope that you do me a huge favor by liking, subscribing, and commenting on the video, and hopefully sharing it with someone else who may or may not, or who may need it. So with that being said, I want to talk today about dumb pieces of advice that you really should ignore. Again, as I said earlier, there's a lot of advice out there given by people who may not necessarily know what they're talking about, and they might be spewing absolute nonsense. So today my goal is to highlight some things that I believe are just not worth listening to at all, because they're not going to take you in the direction that you actually want to go. And the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be following your passion. We all have this romantic idea of following our passion and doing the thing that we enjoy doing and making a ton of money off of it and being amazing at it and being the best at it, and going down in history as the best at whatever it is we choose to do. But the reality of this is that your passion may not always be sustainable or profitable, right? This world runs on supply and demand. If there is not a demand for your skill set, if there is not a solid demand for the things that you're capable of doing, it doesn't really matter how passionate you are about them. You're never really going to grow, and you're never really going to grow that passion into something lucrative. Following your passion is good on its own. Like, if you want to be the best guitar player in the world, or if you just want to be a really good guitar player and that's your passion, then that's totally fine. But if you do not develop the discipline, and if you do not work at it constantly, you're never going to be able to succeed. It's just not going to happen for you. Even if you do follow your passion, let's say you do go with the idea of being the best guitar player in the world. Even if you did do that, right, you would still end up having to do things that aren't practicing the guitar and aren't performing at concerts. You have to network with agents who will manage you, who will take you on as a client. You have to see if those agents can negotiate on your behalf in order to get you signed with a record label. If you don't have an agent, then you have to negotiate yourself, and you have to learn negotiation tactics in order to get that signing onto a record label. There's all these things. You have to plan out the logistics for concerts. You have to go and reach out to venues, bars, clubs, to see if you can perform there, and you have to negotiate with those people. There's a lot of things that go into following your passion that aren't even directly related to what your passion might be. For me, watches are a passion of mine. If you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know that the majority of my content is focused around wristwatches and stuff like that. I love watches. I love buying watches. I'm wearing a watch right now. This is a Sangen Overlord that was gifted to me by my mom for Christmas. I love watches in general. Watches are a huge passion of mine. But some things that are not a passion of mine is spending money to protect and care for these timepieces. I don't like having to spend the money on insurance and servicing these watches. That's not really a fun thing to do for me, and that's not a passion of mine. Going and doing hours and hours of research on watches to make a video that may or may not get a lot of views, right? That isn't always the most fun thing either, right? There's a lot of stuff that I have to do, like editing videos, filming the content, doing multiple takes, that goes into this hobby of mine that isn't a passion. It's just something that has to be done, and it's the nature of the beast. Turning this YouTube channel into a full-time job would likely be financial suicide, because right now it doesn't even replace my full-time income. And that is probably turning this YouTube channel into a full-time job is what I would do, assuming I took that advice of following your passion. What I instead recommend is that you follow your competency. Figure out what you're good at, figure out if there's a market for it, and then leverage that to the best of your ability so that you can be in demand in this economy. The next thing that I want to talk about is faking it till you make it. I heard this piece of advice a lot as a junior Marine, and I will say that in some situations it is somewhat beneficial. Walking tall, standing with your head held up high, and speaking with authority actually have an interesting effect of building your confidence where there might not have been any previously. But most of the time, following this advice just makes you look like you are overcompensating for something. Look at Andrew Tate. That guy is one of the most physically unattractive dudes out there on the internet right now. He hasn't won all of his fights.
Needs to keep that midsection coming in and knees. Get away. Needs to do something to stop that clinch work. So needing the head there. First eight count. It's only round one. We've got 30 seconds left. Is he down? See if he's going to make this. He's going to make this count. No, that's it. He's out. He's out.
He's not the best fighter in the world, but he certainly acts like it. He has this attitude like he is. He, again, going back to his level of attractiveness, it's pretty clear that he's not a good looking dude, but he overcompensates for it and he takes advantage of his internet fame, and he spews very misogynistic things all over the internet in order to make himself seem like a big man, even though he's really not. Jack Doherty, for example, has also been called out by Nico Leonard for wearing fake Richard Mille watches. He wore rented Richard Mille watches. I don't know if they were real or not, but he definitely rented them. He doesn't own them. That dude is posing on the internet, trying to look like he's rich, when it's really all just a facade. He's faking it until he can make it. And honestly, some people buy into it. Wes Watson, another example, fakes his manhood by defending people who commit assault, and he condones it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look at what Mike Van Wyck did to Jeff Nippard. He went up to him in the gym, and he physically assaulted him in the gym while Nippard's cameraman was filming, and then Wes Watson goes on the internet and starts defending him, when there's absolutely no excuse for physical assault.
Guys, there's a video online going around of some monster-ass fool pushing some keyboard warrior princess little punk bitch by his neck. You pussies are in the comments going, he should press charges. No, he should get pushed by the neck and then get his fucking head stepped on, and everybody else should say, good bitch. Don't talk shit to a monster if you're a little peon pussy fuck. You guys need to know your fucking place before you get put in it. You guys are so fucking soft, it's disgusting. Wake the fuck.
His entire physique is built off of his use of PEDs, which is basically faking it until you make it. He cheated his way into having a good physique. He cheated his way into being bigger than other guys, and now he acts like the biggest dog in the room when he's really a scared little child at heart. The point here, though, is that faking it till you make it is really not a solid strategy for success, and people will find out the truth in the end, and they will see you for what you are, which is a liar. You need to know yourself. You have to know your strengths, know your limits, and work on that until you become a better version of you. The third thing that I want to talk about is never giving up. When I was a young kid in high school, I remember going to this event for the Marines in the delayed entry program. It was this like big physical training event. They brought all the police from all the recruiting stations in the region together, and we ran this big obstacle course. And at the end of it, the sergeant major of the district came up and he said one thing to us: when you go to boot camp, never, ever quit. And that phrase was what got me through boot camp. I can say definitively that I kept that in mind all throughout boot camp, and I don't think that I would be here today had I not heeded that advice. But there is a caveat to that. Persistence is valuable. Having grit and determination is a vital key to success, but sticking with a course of action that doesn't benefit you or that is not working is going to be a waste of your time, your energy, and it will destroy your mental health. You need to be flexible, and you need to know when to pivot when something is not working in your life. If something that you're doing consistently fails, the smart thing to do is to adjust your strategy and then move forward from there. You have to be adaptable in life, and you have to know when something is not benefiting you anymore, and then you have to let go of it. The next piece of advice that I think is absolutely dumb is to just be yourself. In my opinion, just being yourself, whether you apply that to, meeting a potential partner or going in for a job interview or just interacting with people in daily life, this piece of advice, in my opinion, is far too vague to be helpful. It shirks responsibility and it helps you avoid ownership of your actions. It really just tells the world that you have nothing left to learn in life or improve upon. And that's not how life works. Every one of us has something that we need to work on. Every one of us has something that we need to improve upon in order for us to actually succeed and reach the goals that we want to achieve. The thing is, you need to be working on yourself and improving yourself daily. Because as a person, if you truly want to succeed, you have to recognize the reality that, none of us are perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. There are things about me that I need to work on, that I need to get past and grow past. And the same is true for every single person watching this video. We need to be able to answer for and grow past our imperfections as people. That way we can succeed in life. The next thing that I want to talk about is don't worry what others think. This is kind of along the same vein as just being yourself, because honestly, these two ideas are linked together. If you don't worry about what others think and you're just being yourself, then you never have any responsibility to improve yourself or grow as a person. You don't have any responsibility to grow smarter, look for a better job, get more physically fit, take care of yourself financially. Like, that's not the way to go about life, and shirking responsibility and avoiding being accountable for your actions and your words is not how you achieve success. Self-confidence is important, but arrogance is not. And the statement of not caring what other people think reeks of arrogance to a disgusting degree. Here's an example. If your boss thinks that you're lazy, you should probably care enough to ask why. Whether you're asking yourself by taking a hard look in the mirror, or like actually going up to them and being like, hey boss, like, do we have a problem here? Like, I heard that you said I was lazy. I heard that on my performance eval, you thought that I wasn't a hard worker. I would like to know why, and talk about what we can do to address that. You should have the courage and the determination and the humility to care about what other people think. Now, not everyone's opinion matters regarding you. You should be able to sort out the good advice from the bad, but you should also be able to listen to constructive criticism when people give it, especially if that constructive criticism is coming from people who are already at the point that you want to be in life. If I go out there and tomorrow I meet a multimillionaire, right? And I ask him, hey, how do I get better? How do I get to where you are? Do you really think that I'm just going to disregard whatever he says if it hurts my feelings? No, that's stupid. No, you wouldn't. You would stop talking and you would just listen to what they have to say, and then see how you can implement that into your own life so that you can eventually reach that point as well. And people just don't do this. People need to understand that in some cases, worrying about what other people think is actually crucial. We are social creatures. We interact with each other. We thrive off of human interaction, and we need it to survive. And not caring about what other people think, period, is just completely contrary to human nature. The next thing, and this is the last point that I want to talk about, is that everything happens for a reason. This is some of the absolute most naive advice that I have ever heard. Not everything happens for a reason. Every time someone says this, they are being dismissive of all of the horrors in this world. Go to a dying child in Gaza right now who just got their home bombed and tell them that everything happens for a reason. Go to Ukraine and look a family in the eye and tell them that statement. Tell them everything happens for a reason when they have to fight, suffer, and die every day because a tyrant in another country wanted to subjugate them. There is no reason for that. There is no justifying that. There is no silver lining for any of that. This statement is completely naive and it reeks of ignorance. It is absolutely stupid and it is some of the worst advice that I've ever heard. Anybody who says this, shut that down. Shut that advice down immediately because it is not true and that is not how the world works. Are you really going to dismiss the pain of that dying child or that broken family? Are you? Think about that. Bad things happen to good people who don't deserve it. And the exact opposite is true as well in this world. Think about every single terrible person you know of or know personally in life who is enjoying the success and the riches that they do not deserve, clearly. And then audit that against this piece of advice. And I guarantee you, your thoughts about this piece of advice will change. The reality of the universe is that there is a lot of randomness everywhere. Random things happen, and we can't control everything that happens in this world. And there is not a silver lining to every single situation. Sometimes bad things just happen. What we instead need to do is realize that this is the way that things are. This is the reality of our world, and we have to accept that. We have to understand that this is the situation, and we have to orient ourselves to it. That way, we can respond in a controlled, a measured, and productive way. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I do hope that you really got something from this because, frankly, there is a lot of bad advice out there. I could have gone on, but I'm stopping here because we're already running out of time. This video is already running pretty long. But I really want to know what you guys think of this in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this style of video. Let me know what you think of this content and if you want me to do more. Because frankly, I do intend to do more. I think that stuff like this needs to be talked about. But regardless, again, I look forward to hearing you guys down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what other pieces of bad advice you've heard because I am certain that I have not covered everything here in this video. So yeah, looking forward to speaking to you guys. Be well, take care, stay safe.